I think the other panelists are doing a good job of describing the environment. It's the 10 years ago, the dominant security strategy was to create a virtual and physical boundary around your networks and then actively defend at that boundary. And to its credit, DHS said, yep, that's an important thing to do, but let's also create this ecosystem of security beyond just the boundary. And to me, that's sort of the birthplace of CDM many years ago. And as I mentioned before, that's exactly where the private sector has sprinted in parallel to the CDM initiative, right? So the dominant strategy in the private sector is to do agile segmentation, right? Rather than trying to create a boundary around your network where that boundary no longer exists because of wireless network, wireless mobility and cloud, you have to do agile segmentation at the place where the data is. Well, that's the #1 security strategy, but that also means there's a cost, and that cost is making sure you have visibility of where all your assets are. So Fortinet, what we're doing is we're making sure we have great visibility. As you said earlier, Rod, you can't defend what you can't see, right? So it starts with great visibility, but then you have to do something about it once you have that visibility where your assets are and you're actively defending it no matter where those micro or macro segments are. So private sector is ready to serve the department's agencies in that sense now. You know, even Neil, when you talked about your application, state's application is very, very different than some of the other departments at the table, right? So state is fundamentally a worldwide deployment. So the way they will architect their network is going to be a little bit different perhaps if you have a more domestic-centric department or agency. The good news is that the private sector has solutions that can work for geographically centric departments and agencies, in the opposite, as well as cloud versus non-cloud, right? You don't want to have to necessarily defend your networks differently if you're have virtual appliances in the cloud versus physical appliances in your data center. So the best commercial solutions can integrate across both virtual and physical and domestic and foreign.